Very well.
Okay, so this is going to be a long presentation. I will try to capture as much essence I can. Okay, so first, certain disclaimers. Okay, I always like to give that. So this is not about intellectual arguments, new numbers, and all of that. Okay, so it is about going somewhere deep inside us and really thinking about what we are doing. And if you ask me, am I living a 100% sustainable life? Definitely not. I am still struggling on the path. So what I'm just doing is an attempt to share what I've learned in this journey so far. And the intention of this presentation is not to make anyone feel guilty or depressed or sad or anything of it. It is just to remind us that we have some responsibility towards the future generations. And there is always, like, we can get up and correct and do a course correction, okay? And of course, we have WhatsApp and all kind of social media bombarding us with information. So I might not have anything new in this presentation to share with you all, but stay with me so that we put all of that together to see the bigger picture. Okay, and never will I say that whatever I say, you have to believe me. Like how Thiruvalluvar always said, "Eppurul yar yar vai kepinum, appurul meipurul kanbadu arivu." So I'm just giving you some information here. I would really appreciate you to do your own research and see what actually suits your life. Okay. So with that, let me get into the actual presentation. So if you see this picture, this man is wearing something like what now our doctors and medical professionals are wearing to prevent corona from attacking them. A very highly sophisticated suit, and he is spraying pesticides on the plant. Okay. So if we need to wear such protective gears when we are spraying the chemicals, what will be the effect of the food that is being sprayed with? Okay, so the food is also like this is a grape yard, so vineyard. So the grapes will soak in all the pesticides, right? It is not like it is going to be on the surface. It is like our skin. It will also soak in all the chemicals. So basically, the question is, even in India, I don't think farmers have such protective gears. This is somewhere from the west. So thinking of all this, we are exposing not only ourselves, our farmers, everything, our land, our water bodies, everything to all these chemicals. So like how Sudha was talking about the toxins that like even for not only for Parkinson's, even a lot of issues that we have in rise now, ADHD and Asperger's syndrome, you take anything, autism, all of them have been linked to the pesticides and herbicides in our food. So even for Parkinson's, though they don't know the actual cause which causes it, but there is quite a lot of research evidence which is pointing it to the pesticides and herbicides in our food. Example, there is I don't know if you guys have heard about the companies called Syngenta, Monsanto. They are huge corporates which rule over the world, and they have weedicides and pesticides called Roundup, and that Roundup is even used in India. And this Roundup has been found almost all over the world, and this has been linked to higher rise in autism all over the world. Okay, so that is the level of impact that this food can have on us. So, what are the actual issues when we eat such conventional food? Is like we have toxic exposure to cellular level. So what happens is excuse me, so even newborn children seem to have such pesticides in their blood streams. So birth defects, learning disabilities, obesity, we have a rising number of infertility issues these days, right? We would have so many infertility clinics all over. Cancers, tumors, I don't even have to mention about that. That used to be at 80s, Amitabh Bachchan used to get in the movies. But now we have one or two cancer patients in every family now. And water pollution, suffering, and farm animals, ecosystem, everything is suffering because of our indiscriminate use of these pesticides and herbicides and whatnot, chemical fertilizers. So that what is the solution? I never like to talk just about the problems. Every problem comes with a solution. So the only solution is going organic. Okay, so people will when you switch to organic, obviously all this exposure to this harmful synthetic pesticides is reduced. our water gets safer, our air gets safer, because when we use it on the plant, it is also getting into everything, land, water, air, we are breathing the air, we are drinking that water. So all of this is cut off. It actually, the harm they cause to our hormones, everything is actually can be cleared off if we just go for the organic farming. And there will be a question, can organic farming feed the whole world because the population is on a rise? So there are several researchers and even WHO and a lot of international organizations have written and it's proven that if small scale organic farming can actually feed the world. We really don't need such corporate farming, okay? And this, and of course we should support local farms and local economy. There will be a lot of question on organic. Is it really organic? How do I know if this is organic? Why is organic so expensive? They are frequently asked questions. But actually, if we support more of organic farmers, organic farm, the price will come definitely low. And the other thing is, when we always think about why should I pay so much for organic food, then that money we end up spending on our the illnesses and sicknesses we get by eating the chemical food. So it is our choice. So am I ready to spend a little bit more on my organic food, or am I willing to spend it in a hospital? So the choice is ours. Okay. And talking about foods, I always like to touch upon this food because a lot of people do not know about it. And this is called GM food, or the genetically modified food. Tamil's sollona marabanu maatrapatra unavugal. So basically what is done is, say for example, there is a flood prone area and the farmer wants to grow tomatoes and the tomatoes get rotten in the flood. So what they will do in genetic, and this is a crude example I'm just giving off to make you understand the concept. So they will say frogs and fishes don't rot in water. So can I take that gene which gives them that water repellent quality and put it into the tomato seed, so that that grows and the tomato becomes water repellent, so my tomatoes don't get rotten in the water, something of that sort, where I go to genetic level and modify certain things so that it solves certain purpose for myself. But the danger behind it is we don't know the consequences of such modifications. For example, say I'm putting a peanut cell in some other plant because I need that quality in it. What if a person allergic to peanut eats that food? He might have really bad allergic reactions. It can be fatal for some people. So these are just crude examples that I'm just giving, but you don't know the impact of genetically modified crops. In fact, Europe, there were farms where billions and billions of bees died because of GM crops, and they have been banned now. So that is the danger of these GM crops, okay? So what will happen is then these huge corporates will start having the hold on seeds. Our farmers will not be able to save our native varieties of seed. If you take brinjal, we have 1000 brinjal varieties in India, okay? Local varieties. But when the GM brinjal is introduced, it will take over everything and we will lose our local varieties. So that is the danger of going into this genetically modified food. Neither is it good for us, nor for the environment, nor for our cultural diversity. And then when we talk about food, how can I not talk about this? We all love this, right? Junk food, convenience food. You pick up the packet, open it, eat it. You can be so happy. It's so tasty. It's so addictive. But let me tell you, every chronic disease in this world, every disease in this world can be linked to these foods. Do me a favor. If you just see these anything, your chocolates, your biscuits, your any processed food, you take and turn the cover and read the label, you will have so many things which you can't pronounce. Okay, for example, most of you like mango juice, right? So when we make mango juice at home, what will be the ingredients? Mango, water, sugar. If we need some additional sweetener, that's all, right? You take a cover of fruity and turn it and read it. Acidity regulator, E3, this, that. Oh my God, why do we need all such things in a mango juice, right? Because they're all preservatives, and you will see actually the mango and fruity or anything will be very less, probably 20% or lesser. Less is all chemical concoction. If you take a tomato ketchup bottle, they would have written themselves 5% is tomato, rest is all chemical concoction. Why do we need to eat this? We are actually fooling ourselves, right? And probably our children also. This is not food. So in yoga and every traditional science you will see, we are what we eat at the physical level, at the grossest level. So if we eat fast food, if we eat junk food, we will go to heaven faster or hell faster, whatever you want to call it, and we'll be junk. We are what we eat, right? So though they all appear like food, they are not food. I'm very sorry to tell you that, because they are all filled with really crappy chemicals which can affect your neurological system, which can affect your hormones, and it's very sad that we are feeding our children this from very young age. Very, very young, in their formative years. For example, if you take your child to a birthday party, you will see they become hyper because it has food colors, it has extremely high levels of salt and sugar and all of that, those cakes and all things. So what happens is their nervous system gets such a, fatal joke with so much of energy and chemicals. So don't do that. That's what I would say. So it will be really good if we can sit with our children, cook simple things at home. That brings a quality time spent with the children, and you teach them what is really healthy, and you set them on a path for healthy living for their lifetime. Right? In Tamil we say anjila valayadu ambadula valayadu, right? So what you teach them when they are 5 is what is going to set them for the rest of their life. So what we need to learn ourselves and teach our children is eat real food. Do not eat fast foods. Do not eat processed food, junk food, chemicals. Just nutritious, natural, healthy, real food. That's what we need. We would have solved 95% of the health issues in the world if all of us can just follow this. But we don't, sadly. Yeah. Okay. So very simple takeaway is, do not eat food that is advertised on the TVs. A good food does not need advertisement. Take it from me. Do you see an advertisement for an apple or a banana? You will only see advertisements for all these junk things which have huge corporates which just profit in mind. And do not eat food processed in a plant or factory. Just eat food that comes from a plant. Okay? So that will be the takeaway when it comes to food. And like just now we had Deepavali, so I would love to, don't use oil and reheat the same oil again and again. That has also been linked to a lot of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Using reheated oil again and again. Okay? So don't do that. Once you have brought an oil to its higher the temperature or smoking point, you should not reuse it again. Okay? Once done, it's done. So next thing. So food, we have talked about food. Next is, what do we use to cook our food in? That also plays a very critical role in our health. So I put them in risky choices and safer choices as a category. So risky choices are definitely non-stick. Of course, we all now, if you go to any supermarket or mall, you will see only non-stick cookware everywhere hanging in colors, colorful labels, and even high brand chefs promoting them. But sadly, they are not really healthy in the sense they use PFA or Teflon, which is famously called as Teflon. That's what you use to coat it. Of course, they are very convenient to clean and they are easy to cook. You have to use a lot of oil. So that's why people think it's healthy and go for it. But there was a guy in Germany who sued this company and won a lot of money because the fumes from the cookware killed his parrot. Okay. So what happens is they emit toxic fumes. Maybe as human beings we might not die like his parrot died, but of course we are inhaling them, and it has a longer term effect on us. And what happens is when we heat it, the particles decompose, they leach into our food, all of that happens. So if you have to use it, there is no other go, you should use it at a very low heat. That is the only way out. But I would definitely say you should not use non-stick, because a lot of thyroid issues are linked to non-stick cookware. And we see a lot of hormonal issues on rice everywhere. And the next thing is aluminium. Aluminium is also highly toxic, so it's cheap and easily available. Aluminium has been linked to a lot of Alzheimer's issue also. So we now have a practice of packing our food in aluminum foil, reheating it in the microwave, takeouts are packed in aluminum foil tins. I would say avoid all of that if you can. Okay, and plastics, I don't have to talk. You know, plastics are dangerous. Microwaving in plastics, heating them, packing hot food in plastic, drinking water in plastic, everything is dangerous because they slowly leach into your food. And there is an interesting statistic that we are all eating plastics, sometimes even as much as a credit card every day without knowing that we are eating it. Okay, so so safer choices would be ceramic, though it's a little hard to handle and all of that. So stainless steel is a good choice, but go for good quality stainless steel. You will have to look for it because the nickel, cadmium, the content is important. So just go for good quality thick stainless steel vessels. Iron and brass are also good choice, but they are high maintenance. You will have to take care of them because rust should not be there. So you'll have to clean it, dry it immediately, apply some coconut oil and do that kind of a maintenance. But they are very good actually for your health. Glass is safe. Mud and stoneware are my favorite because they really make your food taste so good. That's how our grandmothers used to cook, and I really like doing that. It's like very it retains a lot of nutrition in your food. It slow cooks, and in fact, there are people who say it balances the pH level of your food to suit your body and all of that. But the thing is, like, you will have to season it, maintain it. It's a little maintenance oriented, but yeah, but still I love cooking in there. So that is about the cookware. Okay, now coming to the personal care items. From the early morning, first thing we do, all of us do, is brush our teeth. Okay, so our toothpaste have triclosan, aspartame, sorbitol, sodium lauryl sulfate, blue dye, fluoride. Why do we need all this? If I remember correctly, my grandfather always used just a neem stick to brush his teeth, and he had all his teeth intact till he died. Okay, so but now we have root canal for every single person. Every person goes to the dentist with this pain and that pain. All that happened only, if you see, none of my grandparents had this issue, but from the generation, my parents' generation, when they started shifting to toothpaste, all of them had root canal done or some of the other issue done. There is some link to all of that. Okay, so most chemicals in our toothpaste are not needed for our body. If you see the sodium lauryl sulfate, for an example, you will find it in your toothpaste, in your shampoos, in your everything that foams, gives you a lot of bubbles. That is because of this chemical. And we all think more bubbles means more cleaning, but actually more bubbles means more toxins. Because what happens is they are quite corrosive. If I tell you what SLS was used for, actually, it was used in garages, car garages, because they have thick oil and all spills, right? So to clean that, it was a very highly corrosive and harmful chemical that was actually used to clean garages. Now we are using it to clean our teeth. So I definitely really don't want to use that in my teeth. Okay. And most of your personal care products, I'm not going to talk about all the chemicals, then I'll need probably 2 or 3 days. So I'm just skimming over it. Formaldehyde, we all know, you would have seen in your school chemistry, I mean the biology labs and all, right? The fetus and things will be preserved in certain things so that they don't rot. So that is formaldehyde. So formaldehyde is a very highly toxic, cancer-causing formaldehyde is very toxic. It is known carcinogen. It is a known neurotoxin. So it affects the neural system. So that is also one of the reasons why it could be a reason for all the Alzheimer's and Parkinson's on rise today. So formaldehyde, and then we have methyl chloride. These are also used in all those aerosol products, right? You air sprays and all those sprays. I'm sorry. And then phthalates. Phthalates are another set of chemicals which are found in your soaps, in your nail polish, in your, I don't know, everything has phthalates these days. They are very, very harmful for your liver, your kidney. They cause a lot of birth defects. A lot of people get allergies and asthma because of phthalates. And triclosan, oh my God, this is everywhere. Anything antibacterial, including your hand washes, everything has triclosan. Okay? And so triclosan is a culprit which is actually causing a lot of thyroid and reproductive issues. and it also affects your immune system, liver system actually, and it a lot of people don't actually react to the normal antibiotics, so we are going for higher and higher and higher doses of antibiotics thanks to Triklosan. So it is one reason taking the antibiotics.
You're breaking up.
If you see the fragrances, most of them are chemically concocted. They are not natural fragrances. So these artificial fragrances are mostly used in feminine care products, your shampoos, your everything which has the fragrance, and they are very potent endocrine disruptors. In the sense, they can cause hormone imbalance to happen just like that, very easily. So that is one of the reasons why we have a lot of, probably we have a lot of children getting into puberty very early, a lot of people having infertility issues, uterine issues, your polycystic ovarian syndrome, a lot of things, and men having issues with sperm motility and all of that. So there could be a potential reason. So these are the most commonly used chemicals, and you will find them in everything. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about all of those chemicals, and I just spoke selectively. So yeah, like how whether we believe in karma cycle or not, what we reap is what we sow, right? So for example, this we have the facial scrubs we use with exfoliating beads and all of that. So with micro beads, so they are little tiny plastic beads. Okay, so we use it, we wash our face, we feel we are looking very beautiful, that's done. But what happens is these microbeads go into your water system, the fish and other marine ecosystem, they eat them, and that fish comes back to your plate and you are eating those microplastics all by yourself. So if you are delighted that you are a vegetarian and you are safe, I'm sorry, even vegetarians, we are all eating microplastics in some way or the other. Even your salt has microplastics because it comes from the sea. Everything. There are microplastics in everything we eat today. So what are the alternatives? Like I said, what is the use just talking and cribbing about the problems, right? So these are the alternatives that I have found for myself. Okay. So I don't use this commercial toothpaste for one reason, they are full of chemicals, and two, I don't know what happens to the tubes when I throw them out. Those tubes cannot be recycled. They are going to stay on this planet forever. Okay, so I think for the last 10 or 11 years I haven't used a toothpaste, and I'm all right. I still have my teeth intact. So so I can vouch for this. So I make the tooth powders at home. So even if you can't make them at home, there are safer alternatives available in your healthcare stores. And then if you go for the bathing products, again they're laden with all kind of chemicals. So I just go for bath powders, which are traditional, like you know your moong dal powder, your besan with herbs in it. That is one way I do it. Or otherwise I go for natural soaps that are just made with coconut oil and fragrances. You know, basically organic oils and fragrances. I also make my own soaps. I love making them. So I do that. Otherwise, there are a lot of self-help groups in India today that make good organic soaps. So it will be good if you can support them and also stay healthy. And then your hair oils, most of the hair oils in the market are mineral oil based, so they are also not good for your health. So I would say, like what our grandparents did, a cold pressed coconut oil or a sesame oil is good enough for your hair. You can add the herbs that you want to your oil and make your own herbal hair oil. And shampoos, I always use Shikakai, or I make my own shampoo bars. Shikakai, Arap, there are natural things which you can use for cleaning your hair. And cosmetics, I don't go for any of those cosmetics. If I do, it's probably it's very minimal, like an aloe vera or something like that. I don't use. But in general, if you like to put lipsticks and mascaras and kind of thing, now you have healthier alternatives in market. And clothes, yes, fashion industry is the most polluting industry on earth, next to the petroleum industry. So all our river water bodies are polluted because of the dyeing industry, the cloth industry, and we use so much of clothes these days. I remember before it was a new dress for a Diwali or a Pongal, but today every day becomes a Pongal or Diwali because Flipkart has a sale or Amazon has a big sale. But what we end up doing is polluting our and planet by our greed for more and more. So I would suggest go for natural fibers, and natural dyed clothes as much as you can. That's what I would suggest, because that way we'll be supporting our local weavers and local art forms. So if you see this, this is not snowfall in winter anywhere, okay? This is from Bangalore. So the lake, you know, in Bangalore, it foams now and then, like it really badly it foams, like it's higher than the van if you see. And it catches fire also. Have you heard of lakes catching fire? We are doing magic, right? So that's what is happening, and there are no industries around this lake, okay, Belandur Lake. It is only apartments and households. So this is the kind of toxic chemicals that are there in your household cleaners, which is being let into these lakes. Okay, so the cleaners in our home, right? The Lysols and Harpic and whatnot. We have everything, international brand, Domex, Tide, everything. And if you see, if we have little children at home, the ones who are crawling, you know, those toddlers and little ones, then we mop our house diligently, religiously every day with Lysol, extra Lysol. But do we ever think what happens to the child which is putting its hand on the same floor and putting it into its mouth, right? Will we give Lysol to that child to drink? But what are we exactly doing? The same thing, indirectly. The child licks the floor also. There are babies who do that. So the Lysol is actually getting ingested. What is this? Okay, so that is what is happening. So we think we're just cleaning with them. It makes 99.9% germ free, especially now in the corona time. We are all so panicking and using it, but actually speaking, they are impairing our immune system. They are actually polluting our inner system. That's what I would say. Okay, so these are the list of health hazards. I don't even want to read through all of them, right from asthma to skin irritation to eyes, nose, any issue you take, hormone disruption, they are all contributing to it significantly. Okay, and more importantly, what happens when we wash it off, right? We flush it off, we think that it is done. But where does it go? It goes to the groundwater and it comes back to us through our taps. It's not going anywhere else. Okay. So what are the safer alternatives? So what I do is, for my dishwashing, I don't use any of these dishwash powders or soaps or detergents. I use soap nuts or shikakai based powders. I would probably sometimes add wood ash to it, and that's all. The dishes are done. And laundry also, I have been always using soap nut, only soap nut for our laundry. And floors and kitchen, toilet, bathroom, everything in the house, rest of it, I use either vinegar or I use bioenzyme. So white vinegar is the edible vinegar which you get at most shops, and baking soda. So with this, most of my cleaning requirements are done. So if you need an insect repellent, there is nothing better than neem or turmeric, you know, just fumigating with neem, or, you know, using essential oils like neem oil. They do most of my insect repellent work. So that is about the cleaners at home, and I would tell you how to make some of them also at the end of the presentation. Okay, and then coming to the diapers and sanitary pads. Why am I talking about that here? Okay, so we think most often only what we eat brings in toxins inside, but that is not the only way through which toxins enter our system and impair our immune system and other systems. What we forget is the biggest organ in our body, the skin. Whatever we put on our skin actually reaches our bloodstream even faster than what goes through our digestive system. Okay, if you don't believe me, try cutting a garlic, put it on your foot, wear a socks, and after some time you'll smell it in your mouth. Try doing this interesting experiment. Okay, so that is how fast we can observe. So what are we doing? We are putting all kinds of cosmetics and things on our body. And then comes the diapers and sanitary pads, right? So we are putting it somewhere very intimate where the skin is really thin and mucus prone area. So what happens is absorption is even higher. So what is the problem? Okay, so if you see the chemicals in the sanitary pad and diapers, they are becoming more and more absorbent, right? But you call those companies, they will not tell you what is inside those pads or diapers. Actually, they are very dangerous chemical concoctions. And today we have a rise in means cancers and tumors in genitals and reproductive areas only because of this. We are contributing. These contribute a lot to it. So if you see, they're white, they're beautiful, so we think they're clean. But what is made used to make it so white, right? We bleach them. And when the bleaching process brings in dioxins, dioxins are very toxic pollutants, they cause cancers. And then once used, people just throw it off, right? So what happens once it's thrown off? It does not go away anywhere. It's like plastic. It is almost 90% plastic, okay, each diaper and sanitary pad. So it stays, even we might die, but it will stay for 5,000 years and still keep polluting this planet. Okay, so lot of chemicals which are used in it, the fragrances that I talked, everything is still intact in that pad, and it is spreading in the environment, and when we wear it, it is spreading inside us too. It's causing all kind of health issues. And when people think, okay, let's burn it. Burning is not an option, because when we burn it, what happens is it creates another set of chemical concoction in the air, and we keep breathing the air. Think of how many respiratory disorders we have today. It's on a rise again, right? Very young children have asthma and allergies and all of that, thanks to our chemical filled diapers and sanitary pads. So what is the option? Definitely there is an alternative option. Going back to the cloth pads that our grandmas used, that is the wisest option. It is not like the menstrual blood is not dirty as we all think. It is arterial blood, and it is quite sacred according to me. It is a thing which brings another life into this world. So I would never accept anyone saying it is a dirty. So it is something sacred, and it is okay to wash it. So cloth pads are one option. Cloth diapers for children is the other option, and the menstrual cup is another option that is available these days. But I would always prefer cloth pads over anything else. So that is about, there are million ways with which toxins are entering our homes and bodies today. So I just try to quickly cover up those things. Now let's go for some do-it-yourself solutions which we can use at home, because I don't really like talking just about the problems. And why do I like do it yourself is, one, it is safe. I know what goes into it. I am making it, so it's assured. And the other thing is, when we make something ourselves, we wouldn't easily throw it out, right? When you buy a bag, it's easy to dispose it off. When you make a bag, you'll keep it for your lifetime. So that is why they are special. And what happens is, when I start making them, you don't have to buy things from outside like Harpic. What happens to those Harpic bottles once you're done and you're throwing it, right? It stays there on the planet forever. Nobody is recycling them. Okay, recycling is a big hoax. 90% of the things don't get recycled. So it is good that I can avoid so much of plastic and plastic material entering my house as well as the planet. And most important is, we teach our children that you don't have to buy everything. You can make things at home. It actually brings a big self-confidence and self-appreciation, and actually makes them into a different person altogether. They are important life lessons according to me. So how do we make bioenzyme? This is very, very easy, and it's an all-in-all cleaner, all-round cleaner for me, okay? So what I do is, say if I have 3 kg of citrus peels, any citrus peel, orange, satukudi, lemon, any citrus, even pineapple is okay. Okay, not other things, just the citrus I use. So 3 kg of it, if I have it, I put it and I add 1 kg of raw jaggery to it and 10 liters of water. That's all it is. And you close it in a plastic or mud container, not in a metal container. And you close it. Don't close it very airtight. Leave some place because the fermentation will happen and gases will be released. So if you close it very airtight, it will burst. So don't do that. Just leave some space, breathing space. If you see in this bottle, there will be some space left, even in this bottle, right? So that is because we need some for the air which is released. And if you leave it for 3 months, it will be ready. You don't have to do anything else. It will ferment and the bacteria will do their job. But if you want it faster, if you add a pinch of yeast that we use for cooking, right? If you add it to it, probably in 3 weeks you will get your bioenzyme. That's all you have to do. So if you see, when I'm starting it, all the orange peels are on the top, right? Once it is done, all of them will settle down. That is the indication to show that it's done. And it has a shelf life forever. It doesn't get spoiled at all. Okay. So once you filter it, the citrus peels can be used for cleaning purposes. Otherwise, you can use it in your compost. But the filter that was used is what I use in every cleaning thing of mine. Okay, I'll show you how that also. And then natural cleaners like your soap nut and your shikakai. If I boil it in water, I'll send you these recipes. So I'll just soak the soap nut in a 1 liter of water. Then I'll pressure cook it, or whatever way you want to cook it. And then you squeeze out the pulp and you get the filtrate. That's the first filtrate. Again, I can put another 1 liter and cook it and take it out. So the first filtrate will be very potent. The second filtrate will be slightly milder. That's the only difference. So this you can use for washing your dishes. You can use for doing your laundry. You can use it even as shampoo for your hair. It will do all your cleaning job. So if you want to use it for a longer time, you can put it in your fridge. I don't have a fridge, so I don't do it so often. But you can keep it in dark bottles in your fridge and it will last longer. So how do I use my bioenzyme that I made with my citrus peel? So I just put a 1/4 cup of it and along with the soap nut thing into my washing machine, and my laundry is done. It smells fresh, okay? And you can use it in place of you can use this or vinegar. Both will work similarly, okay? And you can use it for washing your fruits and vegetables. You can use it as a fertilizer in your garden. You just dilute it with 20 parts of water and spray it, and your plants will grow really well. You can use it for car wash. You can use to wash your velakku, brass, copper things, everything. And I think everything can be done with bioenzyme. It's so good actually. It can be used, vinegar and baking soda, and this will be enough to clean blockages in the drains, and even for cleaning glasses, everything. Generally you can use it. I'll send all these recipes to you, okay, and how I use it. So basically, even for toilet bowl cleaning, I just use baking soda and vinegar. They react like acid and base. When they react, they create that thing, and you scrub it off. That's it. So that is how I use my household cleaners. And for tooth powder, again, this is a very forgiving recipe. I add whatever I have, I skip whatever I don't. That's okay, but it really works well. Okay, so basically neem, salt, turmeric powder, clove, fennel. It'll sound like a garam masala recipe, but trust me, it's a tooth powder recipe and it works really well. And amla powder. So each of them has a reason why it's being added, and it really does well. We have been using it for years now. And this is a shampoo recipe with the soap nut water that I was telling you. And then dishwash powder. So I just use the citrus peel powder, shikakai powder and soap nut powder, and it works well. You can use your coffee grounds or wood ash, whatever is there along with it, and you have a good dishwash powder. If you can't make it, there are companies which make it with just soap nut powder, and you can buy them from stores like Restore, or most healthcare stores these days have them. And then this is one thing which I would recommend all of you should do. Instead of throwing those vegetable peels and fruit peels, 75% of our garbage that we throw every day is compost, something which can be biodegradable and compostable. We tie it in a plastic cover and throw it and make it a huge burden on the planet. Instead, if we can just spend a few minutes every day, okay, that's all it takes. I have done it in city. I do it here also. You can do it in an apartment also. I lived in a tiny apartment. I used to do it. So these are the thing shown in the picture is something called kambha. It's an earthen pot with just holes. You don't have to go for this also. Even if you have a mud pot with holes, you can do it at home. Keep it in a corner in your balcony, and that's it. You can do the composting. It's very easy. You put all those peels and vegetable into the earthen pot, which should have holes because it needs some oxygen for aerobic organic matter like paper or even cotton, if it's pure cotton, anything that is compostable, and then sprinkle some water if it's dry. Keep mixing it every day. Keep adding your food waste. That's all. And then once it full, close it and keep it aside. If you think it's smelling, it means it's too wet. Add some more dry leaves to it, mix it and leave it. If it's too dry, then add some sprinkles, a little water. Just that's all it needs. And after 2 to 3 months, you will have like it's beautiful feeling to see that it has turned into something which smells like soil. That man vasana that we say when rains come first, that is the smell you get out of the compost, and it feels such a joy to do something like that. and you feel connected to nature when you do that, even when you're staying in a tiny apartment. So I find it very healing. So that, and you can use it in your terrace gardens, or you can even sell it if you don't have a terrace garden. People will be willing to buy. That is something which we can all do. So very few minutes, I'm not asking you to take 2 days off to do all these things. 2 minutes every day, it can make a huge difference to this planet and ourselves. So the choice is ours. Because I don't want to leave this planet like this to our children. These are our landfills. Whatever we throw every day doesn't go anywhere. It goes like this. And there are people living around these landfills. They're also humans like us. And people who clean all this garbage, our sanitary pads that we throw and we flush, and people who have to get into those drainage to clean it, they're also human beings like you and me, right? So it really pains to see that we do this to our fellow human beings and other animals. And so see, this is the kind of rivers we are living for our children, oceans and rivers. So right now, even Corona is a wake-up call. Nature is giving to us. Can we listen to it? Can we act and start doing something? Just not complain, but start doing some course correction. Let's not do something huge every day. Simple things, simple steps, baby steps. We can all do it together. That's what I would say. And with that, I close my presentation. I'm open for questions.
இந்த ஆர்கானிக் உரம் பண்றாங்களே, அதுல எர்த்வாம் வருமா?
அதுக்கு வந்து வேர்மி காம்போஸ்ட்னு ஒன்று இருக்குமா? வேர்மி காம்போஸ்ட்னு சொல்றது வந்து அந்த மண்புழு உரம். மண்புழுவால உருவாக்குற உரம். நம்ம வீட்டுல உருவாக்குற உரத்துல அதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் எஃபர்ட் போடணும், மண்புழு வாங்கி போட்டு பண்றது. ஆனா கடையிலேயே இப்போ வேர்மி காம்போஸ்ட்னு மண்புழு உரம் கிடைக்குது.
சரி, அப்புறம் உங்க கையில மஞ்சளா இருக்க என்ன மருதாணிக்கு பதில் வச்சிருக்கீங்களா?
மருதாணி தான்.
மஞ்சளா இருக்கு?
இல்ல இல்ல,
ஆரஞ்சா இருக்குமா?
yellowish-ஆ.
லைட்ஸ் வெச்சு.
ஓகே, சோ ஒன் மோர் திங் அபௌட் கேளுங்கம்மா.
பண்ணிட்டேன். சோப் நெட்டுங்கிறது என்ன, எங்க கிடைக்கும் அது?
தமிழ்ல என்ன நானே கேட்கணும்னு நினைச்சேன்.
பூங்காங்கொட்டைன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. நான் அந்த ஒரே நிமிஷம் உங்களுக்கு திருப்பி
பூந்திக்கொட்டையா?
அந்த ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்ண கொடுங்களேன் சுதா.
ஓ சாரி, ஐ ஹேட் டு மூவ்.
பூந்திக்கொட்டையா மேடம்?
ஆமாமா,
பூந்திக்கொட்டை தானே?
ஆமாமா.
ஓகே, அது நம்ம சில்க் சாரிக்குலாம் யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம் அதானே?
அதேதான்
யூஸ் பண்ணுவீங்கம்மா.
சில்க் சாரிக்கு,
பட்டு புடவைக்குலாம் அதான் யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க.
பட்டு புடவைக்கு போடலாம், அந்த தண்ணி தலைக்கு தேய்ச்சிக்கலாம், அந்த மாதிரி.
அதேதான் கரெக்ட்.
ஐயோ, அந்த பட்டு புடவை வேற கட்டக்கூடாது, அது ஒரு பெரிய கூத்து. ஐ திங்க் அம்மா இஸ் ஜஸ்ட் டயர்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் மை கிமிக்ஸ். I don't want silk, I don't want use this.
அது வாங்கினதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணும் பண்ண முடியாது மேடம், பத்ரானா வாங்காம இருக்கலாம்.
கரெக்ட், அதான் பண்றேன்.
இன்னும் எவ்வளவு ஆயுசு இருக்கு தெரியாது.
இந்த போட்டோ தெரியுதா?
தெரியுதுமா,
தெரியுது.
இதுதான் அது சோப் நட்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
தமிழ்ல அதுக்கு என்ன பேருங்க?
பூந்திக்கொட்டை.
இதெல்லாம் நாட்டு கடையிலயும் கிடைக்கும்,
நாட்டு மருந்து கடையில தான் கிடைக்கும் மெயினா.
ஆமா கரெக்ட். நானும் வாங்குவேன். இல்லன்னா இப்ப அமேசான்ல கிடைக்கிறது எல்லாம்.
One thing that it was about organic cultivation. Whatever we can do in our house, what cultivation do you use in your house for organic things? Organic vegetable or organic anything?
Okay, so what can you grow in your terrace is what you're asking. Is that the right question?
Yes. Okay.
What can we do? Yeah,
we do.
If you're in a city, in an apartment, when I used to stay in an apartment, what I used to easily grow are all the palak kind of things, right? Green leafy vegetables. They can be easily grown. You can easily grow tomatoes. You can I have friends who even grow bananas on their terrace. Okay, so it depends on your interest and how much you can do every day, and depends on how much area you have, how much sunlight it gets, and all of that. But easily growing ones are green leaves, tomatoes, bhindi, brinjal. All of those can be easily grown.
Hello.
சொல்லுங்க.
Hello.
சொல்லுங்க. I can.
That soap net and kadkai is it the same?
இல்ல கடுக்காய் வேற, சோப் நட் வேற. சோப் நட்ங்கிறது பூந்திக்கொட்டைன்னு சொல்லுவோம் தமிழ்ல.
See,
Bundi
Kadika is a Tamil name, and for soap net, Bundi Kottai apparently.
ஆமா தமிழ்
So are they edible?
soap nut is not edible. It's not edible. சாப்பிட்டா ஒன்றும் ஆகாது. ரொம்ப நிறைய சாப்பிட்டுட்டு லூஸ் மோஷன் ஆகும், அவ்வளவுதான். உள்ளேயும் clean
Kadkai is it edible? No.
Kadika is edible.
Does it have any like taking it, ingesting it, good properties? I'm asking. That's why.
Yeah, Kadika is good.